party people, happy Friday. Welcome to Flosstube. Today is February 12th. I hope you've had a great week. My name is Jessie and this is Mislaid Pages, and Flosstube is where I talk about all of my cross-stitchy goodness. I apologize that I did not post Flosstube last week. As I mentioned in Woolly Wednesday, my knitcast on Wednesday. I've just been having a wacky brain week. It's been difficult to get myself together enough to do the things that I need to do outside of work. Well, it's been difficult enough to do work stuff too, but which has also been exacerbating everything. But anyway, it's been a wacky brain week, and let's just leave it at that. So I took a bit of a break from filming last week. And I think I've got all my stuff together today. I've made some show notes. Maybe I'll remember what they mean. So let's go. So I hope you're all having a great day. I hope you're having a great week whenever you watch this. I hope things are going well. And if they're not going well, I hope they get better. I really do. Let's see. What should we start with? Should we start with some happy mail? I have some happy mail this week. And I should, hopefully, in the next couple of days, have some super happy mail. I can't remember if I mentioned, I feel like I did, a Christmas present from my husband was a set, or a couple of sets, of artisan design scroll lock frames that go with my fancy, I don't know if you can see it. So this is my Elan lap stand from Artisan Designs. I have ordered some lock scrolls, which are their proprietary scroll frames that go with this stand. So that was my Christmas present from the hubby, and they're finally arriving sometime very, very soon. I got the shipping notices earlier this week, so I'm super excited. So I got a big giant frame, and then I got I think the master set of frames, which gives you almost all the different sizes of sidebars as well as main bars. So super excited. I don't know how to use scroll frames, so it's going to be an adventure. But I know my friend Rachel at Rachel Ray, she's already posted a video about how she uses hers, so that will help a lot. And if I struggle with it, I may make a video myself for you all to watch, just in case you haven't seen Rachel's video. So happy mail today is my latest Kate. Y'all know I love latest Kate. And in fact, sometime soon I may actually be doing a weekly thing with some latest Kate stuff. I just haven't decided if I'm going to do that or not. So let's see. I am a patron on her Patreon, so whatever level I've signed up at, I never can remember. I get 2 5x7 prints of her artwork as well as a magnet every month. So this month, the first one is this cute little parakeet. Tomorrow hasn't come. Yesterday is done. Just get yourself through today. Fantastic. Love it. And then, oh, this one's so cute. It's like a rainbow ferret. Look how cute. You've been doing a great job considering all you've been up against. And this one is especially important right now. It's especially important right now because I think a lot of us, even though we know we're still living in a pandemic, I think we forget to give ourselves credit for the fact that we're living in a pandemic. And I think people expect a lot of themselves on a normal day, and they forget that it's okay to expect less of yourself when you're also dealing with a global pandemic. So, so I think all of you should take this to heart. You've been doing a great job considering all you've been up against. And there are a couple of you specifically that I would like to, I just want you to pause this and read it and think about it for a minute, because I know some of you need this message right now. So just remember that. You're all very special. You're all doing the best that you can. Give yourself credit for that. And the magnet this month, and at some point I'll have to post a picture of my fridge, because I've started putting these all on my fridge. I have a corner in the front where I put all my little magnets. This month is a super cute little frog. You are enough as you are today. This is another one that y'all should take a second. Take a second, pause, read this, internalize it, breathe it, feel it, live it, because you are enough, just as you are. You are enough. And this is why I get latest Kate, because almost every single time there's at least one of these messages that really hits home for me and is really important and inspirational. And I hope that's the case for you too. If you need more, if you need inspiration more often, latest Kate does have She does have a Facebook page where she posts daily, and she also has, I believe she posts daily, and she also has an Instagram account. Both of those are The Latest Kate, and I believe I have links in the link haven. I know I have a link to her Patreon page. And if I don't have links to her Facebook and her Instagram, then her Patreon page should have. So yeah, if you need inspiration more often, if you need, put it in upside down. So if you need to hear these things more often or see her artwork more often, then check out her social media pages, because she is posting all the time, every day. And you can get that little bump of dopamine with, completely for free just by supporting her social media pages. So that's my happy mail. And that's literally happy mail. I love Latest Kate. She is my favorite. So yeah. That's all the happy mail I have. Let's talk about Februaviary. I saw lots and lots of folks on Instagram using the hashtag, which is fantastic. Also using the hashtag #AllTheBurbs. So I'm so excited that so many of you are joining me in this endeavor. I started out of the gate thinking I was going to do a brand new bird every single day, and I got through the first week and was kind of like, this is a lot. Which is kind of what happens. I do tend to set myself these goals that are like way over the top. So they say that you should reach for the stars, you know, that you should always challenge yourself, that you should always reach a little bit farther than you think you can actually get to. But I think that I'm not reaching for the stars, like I'm reaching for the next galaxy over sometimes. That's the way that I end up setting up my plans. And I'm really struggling and really trying really hard to rein that in. Like, I want to dream big. I think it's important to dream big. But at the same time, I need to rein it in just a little bit, because when you are constantly setting goals that are completely outside of your ability to achieve, then you end up in this cycle where you never feel like you can meet your goals. You never feel like you're achieving enough because your goals are so far away that you never get to them. And then you constantly feel like a failure. And I don't want to set myself up for failure. I want to set myself up for success. So I need to set more reasonable and more realistic goals. This is a lifelong, this is a lifelong challenge for me, setting realistic goals. I'm working on it pretty much every day. So, but what I think another thing I've started to do is when I see that I have set myself some really lofty goals, I give myself permission to not hit those marks. And I've started to learn to not feel upset with myself or angry at myself if I don't meet that incredibly far-flung goal. So I start to recognize the things I have accomplished. And again, it's another ongoing thing, is me paying attention to what I have accomplished instead of focusing on the things that I didn't get to, because I have a really bad habit of focusing on those things that I didn't do, that I don't have, that I have, the goals that I haven't reached. It's a difficult thing for me. Anyway, that was a major digression. Regardless, I did start several birds that I'm very excited about. I will probably start one or two more throughout February, but I think I'm going to shift my goal a little bit, and instead of starting all the birds, I'm going to maybe start one or two more, but I'm going to focus on working on the birds for the rest of the month, the ones that I've already started. So, let's get into it. The first one I started this on February 1st. Is out of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. This is Winter Cardinal Etching by Cecilia Turner of Heart and Hand and Needle Art. Excuse me. So this is in the most recent issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. I feel out of breath because I talk way too fast, and I never noticed that until I watch these back. So I'm trying to slow down. Okay. So Winter Cardinal Etching, this was the very first one, and the reason I started this one first was because this was the one that was in the forefront of my mind. This was the one that was like, you need to stitch me now. So I started that on February 1st, and I think part of it was because everything just came together so perfectly. So this is where I am. This is a couple hours of work, I think, because I started stitching this after work on the 1st. So I have some branches. I haven't started on the cardinal itself yet, but I have some branches. And I mentioned this already, but these are the threads that I'm working with. So these are both color and cottons. Focus, please. So we have Bing Cherry, which is one of my favorite colors ever. I'm not normally a red person, but Bing Cherry is my favorite color. And Caramel Brownie. So both of these are from Color and Cotton. And you can see them there. I love this brown, I think, is just perfect for this. And the red is coming off like crazy, not crazy, it's coming off incredibly vibrantly. It's like, woof. Yeah, it's in your face. In person, it's a really luscious red, but it's not, yeah. So, it's my favorite red. So those are the colors I'm working with there. Excuse me for all the coughing and throat clearing. I think the house is super dry today, so my throat is just like, ugh. And I woke up with my throat just really dry and all that sort of stuff this morning. So I've been trying to get the coffee to smooth everything out. It's not doing so well yet. Okay, so that was my first Februaviary start. And then on February 2nd, I don't have the pattern to show you. I don't have it easily to hand to show you, but this is Blackbird Fractor. Focus, please. There we go. This is the start of Blackbird Fractor, and this is a Plum Street Samplers design. And this is one that I purchased this pattern, I think, right before I actually started my journey as a cross-stitch retailer. This was when I first learned about Plum Street Samplers, this was one of the first patterns that I purchased from them, in addition to all the animal stacks. But this was one that I really, really fell in love with. I love the colors. I love the way this is coming together. Again, this is 1 or 2 hours of work, so it's maybe 100 stitches. But it's a good start. I don't normally work on a Q-snap this small. Those of you who know me know that my normal my normal MO is to actually make sure that the Q-snap is large enough that I can see the entire pattern all at one time. But my thinking was, if I really am going to start a bazillion million Februaviary patterns, I'm going to have to switch out Q-snaps because I don't physically own enough Q-snaps to put all of these projects in Q-snaps. So this was an 8x8 that I had sitting around because I never use an 8x8. So I snapped it in knowing that I would eventually take this out. I don't think I've talked about the fabrics. So I'm using the called for Weeks Dye Works. Weeks Dye Works. Weeks Dye Works. Let's see how many inflections I can give you there. So I'm using the called for Weeks Dye Works. This fabric is, I believe this is a brandy fabric, Bestitch Me. And I can't think of what it's called. I want to say it has a coffee type name, like Cafe Mocha or something. I should have written it down. Actually, I probably did. I probably put it, and I can't find my phone now. I probably put it in my Instagram post. Because I'm trying to do that as much as possible. When I post a new start anywhere, I include the fabric, floss, and pattern information for exactly this reason, because I have now forgotten what fabric this was. It's a 32 count. This looks like a Lugano. That might be Jobelin. But it feels like Lugano, so anyway. That is like the first time I've completely forgotten what fabric I was using. I'm usually really, really good about it because I can still remember what fabrics I'm using for my 2020 sales that I started in January last year. But for some reason, I can't remember what that is. I just knew it was about the perfect color. This piece of fabric is an unknown count. I suspect this is a 28 count, but it is an even weave from one of my grab bags from Color and Cotton. So this is a Color and Cotton grab bag fabric. And you already know that it's Color and Cotton floss, because I did tell you that part. So this is where I am with Blackbird Fractor. And this was one of the biggest reasons that I came to the conclusion that I really just want to stitch what I've already started for the birds, because I want to get more of this done, because I'm really jazzed about this one. And I want to get back to it, and I want to get back to cardinal etching. So that's that. And then the last February new start, Februaviary start, I have is Quirky Quaker's Puffin. Again, I apologize for all the throat clearing. I know it must get like super frustrating. So, here is my Quirky Quaker. Please focus. Okay, Quirky Quaker Puffin. So this is the very first Quirky Quaker pattern. And you can see I've got my puffin. My puffin is finished. I just need to do the outside stuff. So, this fabric is a 28 count opal Lugana that I dyed myself. This is and you can see this is a tiny piece of fabric. This is actually a scrap off of the larger piece that I dyed. But I love the way the colors look on the opal Lugana. I think that that the opal Lugana is actually a brighter white fabric. It's a brighter white, just has a brighter white tone, so that when you dye it, the colors really pop. Or at least that was my experience with a couple of pieces that I've used. So I really, really loved how that turned out. The floss I'm using is a silk from the Bestitch Me Halloween box. So this is a hand-dyed silk from Brandy at Bestitch Me in the colorway Witchy. So it's a really gorgeous purple. And I actually just got some sulkies. I think part of the reason that I stopped where I did with this was because I didn't really want to do the whole thing in that color. I wanted to have some contrast and stuff. And I just got these sulkies, which I think are going to have at least one, if not multiple colors that will be complementary to Witchy, so that I can do the outsides in something different, just to have some contrast. So yeah, so that's where I am with that Quirky Quaker. I probably could have finished it, or at least gotten close to finishing it, the day that I started it, which was February 3rd, but I just wasn't feeling it. It has nothing to do with the pattern. I think you all are probably with me on this, but sometimes you start stitching a project and it's not the project your brain wants you to stitch. So there's nothing wrong with the pattern. It's just your brain is like, this is not what we need right now. We need something different. So I think part of my problem was that I really wanted to go back to one of the other two I'd already started, but I had it in my head that I was committed to start a new thing every day. So I forced myself to start something different, and I think that's why I just wasn't as super into continuing with it as I could have been, because my brain really wanted me to do something else. But it's super cute. I love the fabric. And at some point I will definitely finish it. That will be a super easy finish. If I don't finish it now, I'll save it for Season of Smalls in September, and that will be an easy finish. So that's what I have for Februaviary so far. So for the rest of the month, I will either continue working on these. I may start one or two more, because I do have all my Lindy Stitches birds that I want to get started at some point. And there's at least one Barbaraana that is a super cute little bird. It's called Strawberry Time, I believe. And I think I have a cute piece of my own hand-dyed fabric that I'm going to use for that. So, in fact, I think I've got it right here behind me. So, these are my colors for Strawberry Time, including some grays for the actual little bird. So we got those colors, and I'm thinking about putting them on this fabric. So probably in this kind of orientation, maybe, or I might do. I have to see if it's probably taller than it is wide. So I'm thinking about using this piece of fabric with these colors. I think that'll be cute. So I might start this one before February is over. for Februaviary. We'll just have to see. I want to do the things that make me happy, not stress myself out doing something that I think I need to do. So yeah. So there will be more birds. I will continue working on birds. I just may not try to start all the things. Especially because as I started each new thing, I'm like, that's another thing that I have to finish someday. So okay, so what else have I been doing in the last 2 weeks? Well, as you can see behind me, you've already got a sneak peek. I did start something new on February 4th. So I had 4 new starts the first week of February. This is Barbara This is a barbaraanadesigns. I've talked about this a couple times. This is a stitch along, a mystery stitch along called Dreaming Girl. And this is most of the first pattern drop. The second pattern drop, I believe, is Monday, the 15th. So I'm hoping to finish her off this weekend. I just need to do her hair, but it's deceptive because the rest of her hair that I have to stitch, that's about 1,000 stitches. And that was one fun thing about last week. I stitched for 7 days straight, which I haven't done in ages. I stitched at least an hour for 7 days straight. When I got to this piece, I could not stop stitching. I stitched on her for 3 solid days. Of course, when I say 3 solid days, that's, you know, outside of work and sleeping and all that sort of stuff. But basically, all of my free time, I was stitching on her. And I was really hoping I could get her finished by the end of the weekend. But come Sunday, I think it was Sunday, I stitched on her for an hour or 2 in the morning or until the afternoon, and I was just exhausted. I was just tired. Not specifically of this pattern, but I was just tired. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to push myself to finish this because that's my own goal. It's my own, you know, I'm the one putting that pressure on myself. I don't have to. So, so I stitched what I wanted to, and then I put her away. Let me bring her closer now. So I've done a lot of color conversions. In fact, I think the only color that I have stitched so far that is actually the called for color is the dark brown in her hair. So these little designs, that's the called for color. Every other color I changed. I do need to do something. I'm noticing now I need to do something to help define her lips a little bit better. But originally, focus please. So originally, her shirt was made up of dark brown and light brown. I have converted that to a light purple and dark purple, and then there's a DMC 35 is what is that line in between the dark and light purple there. I also, her hair was meant to be 918, I believe, which wasn't quite the color I wanted. It was, I think, a darker auburn color, so I picked 920 because when I went to go pick up some 918 at the craft store, I saw them close together and I preferred 920. So when I got home, I actually used 920. I also did a total skin conversion, and I have to thank both Heike, Stone Cold Coffee Crafts, and Michelle G at Bendy Stitchy for their assistance in picking colors and figuring out a color conversion, and also Lord Libidan's website, because it was based on Heike's and Michelle's suggestion from when Michelle had done a different Barbaraana pattern. She turned the character that was in that pattern into Rose Weasley, so she changed the skin tone using 436 as the base. So I used that suggestion, and then I did the rest of the colors around that. So Michelle suggested 436. I took 436 and looked at Lord Libidan's website, and there is a color set that actually starts with 437 that is in that same range, which worked out really, really well because I needed 4 total colors. So 436 is actually like the medium tone, and then 437 is slightly lighter, and then there was a brighter color and a darker color from those two. So I used those 4 colors together. At some point I'll post the color conversion to my Patreon page for anybody who's interested in using these particular colors. But I love the effect So she's obviously not, she's not the same skin tone as the original design, and I love the skin tone, and I went with the red eyebrows, and I decided to do purple eyelashes just because I thought it would be fun. I feel weird putting eyelashes that are not the hair color on a person. I know that your eyelashes are generally a little bit darker than your natural hair tone anyway, but if I was going to put mascara on her, I wanted it to be different. So I did a little bit of I did a lot of my own thing, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I've never done color conversions to that extent before. I mean, I replaced a color here or there, or I've used, you know, one other floss instead of the floss that was called for, but this is the first time that I've pretty much changed all the things to suit myself. And it was very empowering. I really enjoyed it. The fabric here is a custom fabric that I ordered from Brandy at Stitch Me. So this is a beautiful teal, and you can see it's an opal. It's an opal Lugana. You can't see that it's Lugana, but you can see that it's opal. And when I started looking at this pattern, I remembered that, like, I just really wanted it to be on teal. I wanted my Dreaming Girl to be on teal, and I remembered that I had ordered this. This was actually supposed to be for Unicorn Tapestry from Tiny Modernist, but I stole it. I stole it for Dreaming Girl. So I have since replaced the teal fabric. I don't know if I'll ever start Unicorn Tapestry. Excuse me. I have it basically kitted up, excuse me, hiccups. I have it basically kitted up, but I don't know, I mean, I like the pattern, but considering all the millions of patterns in the world, it's like I just don't have that drive for it. So I have all the pieces, but we'll see. So that's why I was like not afraid to steal the fabric for Dreaming Girl, because I was like, you know what, by the time I decide to start Unicorn Tapestry, I can certainly find some other fabric. I also still have from Misty my 36 count opal linen that I purchased specifically for Unicorn Tapestry. So if I ever do decide to do it, I could totally do it on 36 count. That would be fine. The only thing I will say about this particular piece of fabric, so I purchased Lugana instead of Jobelin for the pure and simple fact that I can get opal Lugana, but I can't get opal Jobelin. As far as I know, Jobelin does not come in an opal form at all. So I had to get Lugana. I got 32 because I always get 32, but I've noticed that the dyeing process, or actually, I always knew that the dyeing process can cause the fabric to shrink, but I have not often used 32 count dyed Lugana. And I think this may be the first time I'm using 32 count dyed opal Lugana, and I'm finding that the shrinkage is real with this piece, because I've actually struggled in some places. If I had realized that the threads were going to be quite that tight, I probably would have stitched with one thread over two instead of two threads over two. But by the time I realized it was going to be a pain in the butt, I was invested, and I was like, nope, I'm going to do it. And I will say, I love the coverage. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. But it is not super fun always to stitch because of the thickness of the threads. So if I had it to do again, I might just do one thread instead of two threads, but I do love the way it's turned out. So I just wish it was, a little easier to stitch. But it's beautiful fabric and it's so worth it. So I do have about 1,000 stitches left on her. I'm hoping to work on her some this weekend, but I have other plans that are taking priority, so we shall see. We shall see. I would love to actually say that I finished it before the second pattern dropped, so we'll see how that goes. So yeah, that was a lot of talking about my Dreaming Girl. But I was pretty obsessed with her last weekend. She was, I guess, hyper-focused is really a better way to put it. Because I started her and I could not stop her, and I was determined to try to finish her over the weekend, and it didn't quite happen. Actually, let me say one more thing about Dreaming Girl, and I'll hold her up so you can continue to look at her. I feel weird sometimes if I'm just sitting here talking and you have nothing to look at. So one final note about Dreaming Girl. This is actually not about mine, this is about somebody else's. So if you follow Michelle G, Bendy Stitchy, she talked a lot about her Dreaming Girl this past week in her Flosstube. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because not only is Michelle's not only are Michelle's color conversions beautiful and gorgeous, she is a master with color, and it's awesome to watch. But her conversion is incredibly powerful, and it's worth a listen. She converted, what she did was she converted part of the pattern to include what is basically a hand over her dreaming girl's mouth. This is a symbol for MMIW, which is Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women, which is an organization working to try to help Indigenous women who are murdered and who suffer violence at a far higher rate than any other group of women. It's a really powerful message, and the handprint is always in red, at least when I've seen it, and as Michelle discusses, the handprint for this symbolism is in red because many indigenous nations believed that red is the only color that the spirits can see. So it's, I'm getting feelings just even thinking about it. And Michelle talked about how it was hard for her to stitch that. Not the designing of it or the physical stitching, but just knowing what that meant. And even when I saw it on Instagram, before I listened to her speak about it, I could feel how powerful that was. It's such a powerful message. It's such a sad and awful thing that happens. It's sad and awful that Indigenous women need this kind of help. But I so appreciate Michelle for taking that symbolism and putting it into this type of medium, because I think often in cross-stitch, I don't know, I mean, I think there's a lot of activism in cross-stitch. I shouldn't even say I don't think that it happens, because it does. There's a lot of activism in cross-stitch, but this was powerful in a different way for me. It hits me in a different way, and it was very meaningful to me. And I really appreciated her for doing that. So she converted her Dreaming Girl skin tone to an indigenous skin tone. The hair is a gorgeous raven black, and then she's got the handprint over her face in unity with MMIW. In addition to that, Michelle is going to be running an auction at some point for the benefit of that organization to help murdered and missing Indigenous women, and I'm here for it. But if you haven't listened to her talk about her pattern and why she converted it and how she converted it, you need to go listen to it. It's important. And I'm hoping that I can contribute in some way when she does her auctions. So, yeah, it's just, like I said, when I first saw it on Instagram, and I saw it several days before I actually listened to her talk about it, it was incredibly powerful. I follow several Indigenous organizations and Indigenous women on various social media platforms, so this was a movement that I have known about, and has really hit me very hard personally, and to see Michelle joining in with getting the word out about that and the recognition and the awareness just really was very meaningful to me. So yeah, you should check it out if you have not already. So there's my statement of craftivism for the week. It's hard for me to talk about it because I don't know how to explain how it hits me or why it hits me the way it does, but it's a big deal. So, yeah, so that was Dreaming Girl. Make sure you check out Michelle's, it's from last week, the one that she posted on Saturday the 6th. Check that one out. And as soon as I know about her auctions, I will let you know. Like I said, I'm hoping to be able to contribute in some way, and when I know about the auctions, I will be contributing as much as I can, and I will let you know so that you can contribute if you would like to as well. So, let's talk about, oh, I have my thing covered up. I gave you the burbs, talked about the burbs, talked about the whips. Let's talk about whip go. So, I have not yet worked on my whip go goals, but I have my whip goes right here. So 20 is Baba Yaga's hut, and 4 is Foxview. So these are my WhipGo pieces for this month. This weekend, coming up, starting today actually, is WhipGo weekend. And what WhipGo weekend is an opportunity to get going on your goals or add in extra work on your goals. And the way WhipGo weekends work is that you set yourself a goal just for the weekend. So it's not the same goal that's on your board, because that's your yearly or monthly goal. This would be either part of that or in addition to that. So I've set myself a goal for 300 stitches on this and 3 hours on this for this weekend. I think that's accomplishable. I should have some stitching time this evening, and then I will likely have stitching time on Sunday as well. Saturday is going to be dedicated to hanging out with the hubs, because we're doing Valentine's Day on Saturday, because that's what works for us. So so yeah, these are my 2 WhipGo board calls for this month, and I'm going to try to do some good work on them this weekend. If I can meet my WhipGo goals this weekend, that would be awesome. I'm not gonna try to push, because that is 10 or more hours of stitching, and which I think is doable. But it's one of those things where if I make that my goal, I'm probably going to stress myself out. And the goal is not to be stressed. The goal is to have fun and to enjoy my stitching. So I will be starting one of these this afternoon. I haven't decided which. I might work on Foxview, just because I'm kind of embarrassed that this is what I keep showing for Foxview. So I might try to put in some time on Foxview. My non-published goal is to try to hit one of those 2 goals tonight, before I go to bed. So I feel like that's doable. We'll see. So yeah, so that's WhipGo weekend. That's what my plans are for this weekend, is to do a good bit of work on those. If I hit those goals, I have Monday off, so I can stitch on Monday as well, because I have Monday off, but the hubs is working, so I'll be free to my own devices all day Monday, which is sometimes my favorite thing. So if I can hit those 2 goals, then I will try to finish Dreaming Girl on Monday. And I doubt that I will start the new pattern, because it's going to take me a good long while to finish off that hair. It is deceptive, the number of stitches in that hair. I just realized I never talked about what I'm watching. I got right into the stitching right at the beginning. I never do that. Okay. And the reason that came to mind was because I was remembering the fact that I was been watching Schitt's Creek while I'm stitching Dreaming Girl. That was pretty much what was on Netflix, or what I was watching on Netflix all last weekend. I finally put it on because I just needed something that was easy to watch or listen to, that wasn't going to require a whole lot of brain power or attention, and it turned out to be better than I expected. I thought it was going to, especially the first 1 or 2 episodes, I really thought it was going to be this goofy, silly, Green Acres type of situation, and it is a little bit, but it quickly starts to develop some legs, and you quickly start to get a little bit more insight into the individual characters, especially David, who is there's a son and daughter, and a mom and dad, and if you haven't watched Schitt's Creek, the gist or the premise of the show is that these were incredibly, incredibly wealthy and privileged people, an incredibly wealthy and privileged family, who suddenly become penniless because it turns out that their accountant stole all their money. So everything they own is repossessed, and the only thing that they have left is this tiny town somewhere in New Jersey, that his dad purchased on a lark, purchased as a joke. So they have to go live in Schitt's Creek. It's a little town that they somehow own, and they have to go live in this motel in Schitt's Creek. So that's the premise of the show. And hilarity ensues, and in some cases it really is hilarious, but there's some interesting and really nice character development happening too. So from my perspective, really the main character is David, who is the son, and then the father and mother and sister are sort of side characters, but they're all developing their own, they're all developing some, they're growing is what I'm trying to say, except for the mom, I think. I think the mom might be a lost cause. But anyway. And I have to say, one of my favorite things that happened, I'm almost all the way through season 3. One of my favorite moments, there's a couple of my favorite moments, but one of my absolute favorite moments is David talking to his friend slash girlfriend slash friend with benefits. He's talking to Stevie about his sexual preferences, his romantic preferences, because everybody assumes in the beginning that David is gay, but then David hooks up with Stevie, and then Stevie's like, but I didn't think that was your thing, and so David goes into this whole sort of monologue about, you know, the different kinds of people he's been interested in, but he talks about them as if they were wines. And then at the very end of that, he says, I love the wine, not the label. And it's so perfect and so fantastic. And it's just a fantastic and fabulous and wonderful way to think about who you love and who other people love. I love the wine, not the label. It's fantastic. It's my favorite thing from the show so far. So yeah, I love David. And I love David's dad too. It turns out that David is played by Dan Levy, and the father, whose name is John, is played by Eugene Levy, and they are real life father and son, and so that makes it so much, it makes me understand why their chemistry on screen is so good, because they're father and son in real life, and so it's awesome. It's awesome. So, that's the main thing I'm watching. I also finished Picard. I'll talk about that another time. What else have I been watching? Oh, I do have to tell you about this. So, because I broke my brain, and I'm still kind of broken. So, Walker, Texas Ranger has been rebooted. Jared Padalecki, who formerly played Sam on Supernatural, and before that played Dean on Gilmore Girls, Jared Padalecki is now Cordell Walker in this reboot of Walker, Texas Ranger. So he plays the role that Chuck Norris played back in the early 2000s. And so I decided to watch the reboot because I love Jared Padalecki. And so I wanted to see where they were going to go with it. And I'm surprised that I'm actually kind of into it because they're taking it to a really good place. Excuse me, now my nose is running. But the thing that broke my brain was that Jared Padalecki comes onto the show and he's playing Cordell Walker. All that's fine. But he has teenage children. He has 2 teenage children. And these teenagers, we're talking 15 or 16. We're talking teenagers, not like 11, 10-year-olds. And I was watching, I think for the entirety of 2 full episodes, I was like, this is so unbelievable. How could Jared Padalecki possibly be the father of 2 teenage children? He is not nearly old enough. And so I do the Google thing, and I find out that Jared Padalecki is 38 years old, which makes sense to me. I figured he was like mid-30s. He's not far off from my age, so I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then I start to do the math. So I'm like, well, Jared's 38, so we can reasonably assume that Cordell Walker is 38. So if we also assume that Cordell didn't have any children before he was 18, then he could have 20-year-old children. If he had children at 18, his kids would be 20 years old today, and that's when I broke. That's when my brain just exploded, because I was like, I'm 2 years older than Jared Padalecki, so if I'd had kids at 18, they would be 22 today. I'm still not over it. I'm still not over it. And keep in mind, I have a stepkid who is 18, and yet somehow this is the thing, you know, doing the math on Walker, Texas Ranger is what broke my brain, not the fact that I have an 18-year-old stepkid. And I have a feeling that it just has to do with the fact that they are, I only met them when they were 6, because of when my husband and I got together and, you know, all that sort of stuff. And, you know, developing the relationship before we meet the kids, and, you know, it's a normal thing in adult relationships. You know, so I didn't meet them until they were 6. So I guess it doesn't sink in that I am actually old enough to have mothered that child myself. Like, I could have birthed her and still been, like, well, I guess 24 or something. I did that math a few years ago, and it kind of broke me too, but I got over it, and I guess I forgot about it. And so just the thought that I could have children who are 22 years old was just like... And I think it's because in my head, my age is not my real age. I think I'm still in my late 20s, early 30s in my brain, but that is not chronologically how old I am. So. I just thought I'd share that with you because that exploded my brain, and I'm still not over it. So yeah, it's completely reasonable that Cordell Walker, age 36, could have 2 teenage children who are 16 years old because, you know, he could have, if he started when he was 18, they'd be 20 now. So anyway. Weird things my brain goes through. So, what else do we have now? I keep getting so off track that I have to look back at my list. I am going to talk about the 500 subscriber giveaway here in a few minutes. Let me talk about Needlework Expo. So if you follow me on Instagram, I have been sharing posts that I've seen, and especially Needlework Expo's post, because I will be attending Needlework Expo as a retailer this year. It's my first time attending a retail-only event like this. This will be virtual. So usually the big one that everybody talks about is Nashville Needlework Market, which happens in Nashville, Tennessee in March. But this year they started out the year postponing it until May, which was absolutely reasonable. And then a month or so ago, they announced that they were actually just going to cancel it for the whole year because it was too uncertain what was going to happen and what was going to be safe. And they would rather err on the side of caution, excuse me, instead of having everybody come out and be unsafe, because my understanding of this event is that it is not an event that lends itself to social distancing. You are all up in everybody's face, elbow to elbow, all this sort of stuff. It is a crazy, packed, big deal. So it's completely reasonable that they've decided to cancel it until next year. Totally fine. But Needlework Expo has sort of stepped in with a virtual event to sort of fill that void, which I think is fantastic. So I'm already signed up to be a retail attendant. So that does mean that I'm getting some communications from various designers about things that they might be releasing. I actually just got an email yesterday from RETM. They're not releasing the actual pictures of the patterns, but they will have 4 new releases at Needlework Expo. So that's really exciting. I know that Michelle G. Bendy Stitchy is releasing something new. Tiny Modernist is releasing something new. So there's a whole bunch of designers that will be doing for Needlework Expo virtually what they usually do for Nashville Needle Market. I'm really excited to be participating. I also have no idea how it's going to go because I've never attended a virtual event like this, let alone a real or an in-person event like this. So I really have no idea what to expect. But that does mean that I can take pre-orders. If you hear about something, I'm trying to share as much as I can on Instagram about new designs that I'm hearing about and that kind of stuff. But if you find out about a pattern that you're super into that's going to be releasing and you want to pre-order it, I'm happy to do that for you. That's a thing that I can do. I will be trying as much as possible to buy some different or patterns from as many different designers as possible. I'll be trying to get show exclusives and things like that I can share with you all and with my Etsy shop and that kind of stuff. So just want to make you all aware that if you don't already have a local needlework shop, if you don't already have a go-to retailer for you, I will be attending Needlework Expo, and I can get you the things that will be exclusive, hopefully. Assuming I can figure out how it all works. But I'm here for you. I got you. So if you don't already have a local needlework shop, I can be your local needlework shop. So, so there's that plug. I think a lot of you already know about the Etsy shop. I recognize a lot of names that come through there, so I appreciate each and every one of you that decides to check out the shop and purchase something. because that whole thing about when you support small business, somebody does a happy dance. I don't physically do a happy dance every time I get an order, but I do have a smile, and yeah, so it's awesome. Y'all are helping me out a lot get my business off the ground. And I was much more successful last year than I had expected to be, and already I'm beating those numbers, which is fantastic. So I'm hoping that it means that I can continue to grow and offer more and more things. And I have a lot of stuff in my brain that I want to make, like things that I will be making by hand to add to the shop. It's just a matter of being able to, one, get the things out of my brain into the real world, and two, actually getting those things photographed and listed and all that sort of stuff. So it can be difficult being an online business owner, because not only do you have to make the thing, but then you have to set up listings for the things, take the pictures for the things, package the things. You have to do all the things yourself. So it can be daunting. And I do the best that I can. And that's why a lot of the time the biggest thing in my shop is patterns and dinky dies, because I can order those and I can package those, and that's far less steps than the making of the things. But I want to put more handmade items in my shop, so I'm working on it. I can't give you a due date, but I'm working on it. Okay, so that was Needlework Expo. Let's talk about, I'm going to talk about purchases, and then I'm going to talk about the 500 subscriber giveaway. I don't have a lot of purchases, so it won't be long. So I mentioned that I needed to replace my teal fabric that I stole from Unicorn Tapestry, and it just so happened that in a recent, I think she does these on Sundays now, Misty of Mystic Fabrics, she does her fabric wars on Sundays, and it just so happened that that week she had a piece of Dreamy on 32 count Lugana. So I snagged it. I'm not sure how I got it before other people got it. And I thought that I had gotten a Lugana or an opal, but obviously this is not opal. And I think probably it never was opal, because I did double check the tag number, just to make sure that I was getting the thing that I remembered getting. But it is really nice. So this is Dreamy, which she specifically developed this color for Unicorn Tapestry. It's coming off bluer than it really is. It has more green in it. It's definitely closer to a teal kind of color. So now I have a replacement for the teal that I have used. I do think that, I think Brandy's teal is a little bluer, but that might just be the opal, because the opal has a little bit of a blue cast to it. So that is a 32 count Lugana from Mystic Fabrics. Very nice. I'm realizing that I'm very warm in this sweater that I'm wearing. And then the other thing, other purchase I have received, I will be getting stitchy boxes soon. So many stitchy boxes. So one of my stitchy boxes, actually I think that's still probably a couple months off. I just got the notice about my the Coffee Lovers stitchy box to finish paying for that. That will ship at the end of March, I believe. And the other one that I purchased may also be shipping at the end of March. I can't remember. I've already paid for it because I got the notification email like a month ago or 2 months ago. So it's already paid for. So maybe it's shipping at the end of February, but it strikes me that it said March 31st was the deadline. So regardless, that one is like a baking or confection box, themed box, and then the Coffee Lovers themed box is in March. But I'm also sometime soon getting Up All Night from the Black Needle Society. I feel like that might be shipping in the next month or two as well, since I purchased that long enough ago that I can't remember when I purchased it. I will say too, I've signed up for, I'm now actually a bi-monthly subscriber of Black Needle Society, because the May box is all about rainbows. and it's going to be perfect for Pride Month, so you know I had to get in on that. So in order to get that one, I basically had to sign up for the subscription. So, and I think the box after that, the following box, will be a pirate-themed box. So I'm probably just going to stick with that because why not? But I also just signed up for the limited edition Fall, Autumn and Stars Hollow, the Gilmore Girls themed box from the Black Needle Society. So yeah, all the boxes. Yeah. I haven't so far purchased Forbidden Fiber Co.'s stitchy boxes. I've been sticking to their yarn for the most part, because they are, in fact, my Gilmore Girls Smells Like Snow box, which is a yarn box, is already on its way. I got the shipping notification yesterday. So that that is already on its way, but I decided not to purchase the stitchy box for that because I knew I was going to get the Black Needle Society stitchy box. And I just didn't feel like it was, as much as I love Gilmore Girls, I didn't feel like I needed that much Gilmore Girls stitchy stuff. So yeah, but they are, Forbidden Fiber Co. is going to be doing a Mandalorian themed yarn box and stitchy box. I think that's coming out for pre-orders at the end of this month, and I'm like, I don't know if I'll have money for that because I might have to buy both of those. I just might have to, because especially if there's any chance that the pattern in the stitchy box has Grogu in it, I need that in my life. I need a baby Grogu in my life, as you can see. I just realized from this angle he's like peeking out behind the flowers. So yeah, bunches of stitchy boxes coming in the future. I'm going to try to do actual unboxing videos of all of those things. We'll see how that works out. Before I got sidetracked, let's talk about color and cotton. I got my December color and cottons. So this is the bright colors. I get 5 skeins of bright colors. And these are interesting colors this time. There's the super pale yellow that they call canary. This would be a color my mother would have loved. So there's canary. And it's more yellow that it's showing up, because that looks like a super pale butter yellow, but it's brighter than that. We've got alexandrite, which is a really nice blue and purple. It's like a deeper blue and a lighter blue, but it's got a periwinkle kind of cast to it. We've got luau, which is a pinky orange, like a coral and pink kind of color. Really nice. And orchid. It's a beautiful lavender, light purple. And y'all know me, I love the light purples. I got so much purple behind me, I just noticed. Oh, that was something I meant to tell you all about. I'll grab it here in a second. And then this last color is chameleon. Karma, 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 chameleon. Okay. The blue and green mix. I'll show you my primitives, and then I'll grab the other purple thing that you can kind of see. And then I also get 3 skeins of the primitive colors. So that's these. And they look very metal tone this month, which I kind of like. So we got silver, copper, and gold. Oops, I dropped that one. So the coppery one is called Mars. Light and dark browns, giving it a really kind of bronzy copper kind of color, like Old Penny. Or actually, that's more like a New Penny. And then we've got Safari, which is our silver zinc kind of color. Very nice. And then lastly, Turmeric. Turmeric, which looks kind of goldy, lustrous, like gold. Okay. So let me grab this thing. I actually haven't even taken it out of the package yet. So, the husbeast got this for me. This is a D20 dice bag. So For those of you who are in the know, who are gamers, a D20 is a, well, you know what a D20 is if you're a gamer. If you don't know what a D20 is, it is a 20-sided die, generally used when you are playing role-playing games and you need to see if you accomplish a task or if you hit an enemy, and that kind of stuff. Usually you roll from 1 to 20 to determine whether you succeeded or not. So this is a thing that he got from me, and it's super cute. I love it when he does these little surprise things, because he doesn't do it real often. He's the type of guy where if he doesn't know exactly what I would want, he tends to not do a thing. He's just that kind of person. But it's got this little pouch, and you can put stuff in here. It's not real deep, but like you could totally put like your little dice pouch or something like that in there. It's so cute. You can put stuff. I could hide my flosses in here if I wanted, if I wanted them to get all knotted up and stuff. But yeah, it's super cute, and it's purple. I love my purple stuff. So yeah, this was super cute. Apparently there's a surprise Valentine's Day gift, and he doesn't often surprise me with things, so I'm really curious to see what this surprise gift is going to be. I have a feeling it has something to do with Magic the Gathering. He's really trying to get me to go play cards on Valentine's Day, because he's planning on going to our local shop. They do all the social distancing and the masking and all that sort of stuff. They're very, very safe. But he's planning on going to the shop and playing a version of the game that they call EDH, or Commander, which is, I don't know, it's probably not worth explaining. it's just a variation on the game called EDH or Commander, and he's built a deck for me, and he really wants me to go play at the shop. So I don't know. I've told him I will think about it, because Sunday is supposed to be my stitchy day, because he's going to go play cards and I'm supposed to stay home and stitch. That's how it works. And now he wants me to do something different, and we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, so he got me the fuzzy dice. The fuzzy die. So that was fun. Okay, let's talk 500 subscriber giveaway. So I really appreciate all of you who have been supporting me over the last year and a half or so. I think I started doing this in October of 2019. Sometime late 2019, I started doing Flosstube. And we're now at episode 35, 36, something like that. It's been a long time getting here, and, you know, I didn't know when I started this if it really was going to go anywhere, but it seems that there are a bunch of you out there who are really awesome, cool people who, you know, like hanging out with me week to week. So I really appreciate it. I appreciate all of you being here. I appreciate your comments and your thoughts. There are so many of you who are not only really engaging me with conversation about stuff that I say here on my Flosstubes and my Woolly Wednesdays, but a bunch of you who I understand really wish me well and maybe look to me for affirmation about things, and that's really awesome. I love the connection that we have, and I want to thank you for being here, for supporting me, for giving me that connection that I wouldn't have any other way. So I have a couple of things that I want to give away. Let me start with some rules first before I get into the stuff. So first rule, you must be 18, because that allows me to have your address to get your address. You need to have filled out the Happy Mail form, which is, if the direct link is not in the description, it will be the first link in the link haven, which is linked in the description. So you must be 18. You must fill out the Happy Mail form, so I have your address. If I have to go hunting for your address, I'm just going to draw a different name. You can be anywhere in the world. I will ship internationally. Please understand, if I ship internationally, it could take forever, because that is how shipping is working. I'm waiting on 4 different international packages right now that I think are basically just sitting in a trailer in New York at customs. So, yeah, but I will ship internationally, because I know I have a bunch of you who are international fans, and that's fantastic. It's so awesome. So, let's see, what else? Also, do not say giveaway anywhere in the comments, because people use that to join in on giveaways that they have no business joining in on, so do not say giveaway. So be 18, fill out Happy Mail form. You can be in the US or international. Do not say giveaway. What you're going to do is you're going to use 2 keywords that I will give you as I'm telling you about the descriptions. So, or as I'm telling you about what I'm giving away. So let's start. So part of the gift, I'm doing 2 of these, so I'll have 2 winners at the end. And part of what you're getting here is things that I have purchased to support other small businesses. So y'all know that I support lots and lots of small businesses, or maybe you don't know that I support lots of small businesses, but you know I follow a lot of folks on Patreon. I support them that way. When I find out about other small businesses that are doing cool things, I try to support them as well. So the first part of the 2 gifts is going to be one of these charms from Teal Teacup, which I have talked about a lot because I'm part of her pin club, and these are super, super cute. And I was able to get extras of these 2 charms, so each winner will receive one of these. So there's the little corgi with the teacup, and there's the dumpster fire dude. Now you're going to get a random one. You're going to get whichever one I throw in the package. So you don't necessarily get to pick which one of these, but you will get one of these. You will also get from Laughing Forest, you will get one of these beautiful, gorgeous, handmade small business lollies, and these are huge. So, and they're heavy. Like this is a real piece of candy, y'all. Because look at, it's the size of my palm. It's a big lolly. So again, you will get one or the other. You don't necessarily get to pick, but there's an orange chocolate. And the other one is Forest Chai, which is chai masala tea with spruce. So if you win and you're allergic to either of these, then certainly I will make an effort to not give you the one you're allergic to. But we'll figure that out on the back end. So you'll get one of these lollies, and you'll get one of these charms, and you will also get some fabric. So what I've done here is I have 2 different pairs of fabrics, because I know some people really only prefer to stitch on Aida, but some people like even weave. So the Aida option, and I'm sorry it's really, really wrinkly, but this is a piece of Aida that I dyed myself. This is one of the first pieces of fabric that I ever dyed in my life. And I forget how big this is. Let me see. I meant to measure this before I got on here. So that's 8. So it's going to be 17 or 18 inches by 14. So it's about a fat quarter, I think, or a fat eighth. It's 17 by 14, around. So you'll get this piece if you are the Aida option, and you'll also get this piece. So these are both probably 16 count, but if they're not 16, then they're 14. So neither of these is an 18 count Aida, which I know is a concern for some folks. So this will be 16 or 14, but I think these are 16. So for the Aida option, you'll get both of these pieces of fabric. And then if you're into even weave, you will get these 2 pieces of fabric. Again, these are all pieces of fabric that I have dyed myself. And this is, let's see, this is going to be 8 by 12 or 14. And it's really light. The lighting is not really giving you all of the variation here, but there is some modeling there, sort of a light teal green. So you get that piece, and you will also get this piece. And this piece is actually one of the experiments. This is part of one of the experiments I did to get that out there. So once I finally get some of these pieces in the shop on the opal base that I used, I'm going to call this color Borealis. So this piece is a 32 count Lugana, and I believe this piece is a 28 count Lugana. So this is 9 by 11, this piece is. So this one is 8 by probably 14. So, as I said, you'll have either an Ada or Lugana option. So what I would like you to do in order to enter to win one of these is tell me either why you love Ada or why you love Lugana. Now, if you have a preference for the other things, I can certainly take that into account, but the names are going to be drawn based on the word Ada, A-I-D-A, or the word Lugana, L-U-G-A-N-A. So those are the keywords. So tell me why you love Ada, or why you love to stitch on Ada, why Ada is your favorite fabric, why Ada is the best thing ever, or tell me all those things about Lugana, as long as you use the word Ada or you use the word Lugana. Now, I would prefer if you only put in for one or the other, but I'm not going to be mad if you put in for both. The main thing is, I know some people are really scared of even weave, or they don't enjoy even weave, so I wanted to have options for folks that prefer Ada. So, Ada or even weave, Ada or Lugana are your keywords. Be 18, be signed up with the Happy Mail form, and do not use the word giveaway. Now, if you would prefer the orange chocolate, then you can use the word, you can say that. If you would prefer the masala tea with spruce, you can say that. Because once I pick the names, I'll look at your comment, and if there's a preference and they don't contradict the other winner, you know, if I can pick out, then that's totally fine. So with these, if you want the dumpster fire versus the corgi, you know, you can certainly say that. But again, the keywords are Ada and Lugana, right? Okay, so we're good with that. I hope that y'all will enjoy these gifts. I'm excited to be able to share them with you. I've been thinking a lot about what would be good enough for you, so I hope that these are going to be things that make you happy. I enjoyed making the pieces that I made, and I know that I love these lollies. They're so fantastic. And I will say Laughing Forest has some fantastic customer service. Fantastic customer service. So if you have not shopped with Laughing Forest on Etsy, check them out. Michelle G, Bendy Stitchy, has a discount code. So if you want a discount code to try them, definitely check that out. And Teal Teacup is one of my favorites anyway. So again, thank you all so much for supporting me, for being here, for chatting with me, for creating these fantastic connections, for giving me a reason to make these videos week after week. You're all awesome. You're fantastic, and I love you all. So thank you so much. Yeah, so I think that's all I have for you this week, folks. I'm looking at my list again. I think I hit all the things. I'm sure there's at least one thing I've forgotten, but thank you all so much again. Thank you for being here this week. Thank you for being here always. I love you. And remember, stay hydrated. Take your meds if you need them. And remember that good enough is good enough. I'll see you all next time.